Gentlemen, do you have a quad or a dirt bike or whatever that's draining your batteries? Here is a little procedure you can do with a meter, a cheap meter, to find out if it's got a battery drain on it and then how to find it and fix it. First thing we gotta do is get a battery that's charged, which you're probably not in that position because your battery keeps dying. But I do like these lithium ones. They do have a charge meter on them, and you can mount them in any direction because they don't have your battery acid floating around in there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna hook up the positive first. Now we want to connect our meter between your ground on your battery and the ground to your quad. On your meter, you want to find an A for amperage, or on a simpler meter like this, it's just going to say 10 amps. That's the range that it's going to read. That's going to require you to switch your leads to the fused. This one will even say 10 amps on there. So that's how you would set up a cheaper one. For this Fluke that's more expensive, it will show you also amps. Make sure you switch your leads. And now you're gonna hook it up between your ground on your battery and the ground on the quad. If you have an assistant, you can have them just hold your leads on those positions. Or if your meter has fancy dancy alligator clamps that will screw on there, that'll work too. We're gonna use just these alligator clamps. And then attach them to our meter. So I can clamp onto the ground. I am going to thread a bolt onto there. Okay, so to just go over it one more time, I have a lead coming off the ground on the quad to the meter, and then the other lead is going to the ground on the battery. And you can see that the quad is currently pulling 0.02 amps from the battery. Now when you have your meter hooked up like this, don't try to start your quad or turn on the lights. That's going to pull more amps through your meter. And these things are only rated for 10 amps. They got a little fuse in there. That'll blow the fuse and then the game's over, right? Then you got to get a new fuse for your meter. So make sure your quad is in the off position, right? When it's off, it's not supposed to be drawing any amps. And we can see that it is. Now for the fun part. Now it's just a matter of unplugging different electrical components to find out where your draw is coming from. So I know by experience that your stator, both your charging coil in here and your signal coil that tells your CDI box when to fire a spark, those can draw a drain. So you're just going to trace these wires up to where you find a plug. Unplug one thing at a time and then go back to your meter. Still got 0.02 amps. That was not it. Make sure you only want to be testing one thing at a time, so plug it back in. Unplug the next thing. Still got 0.02 amps. And you're going to do this process. You're going to check the horn, the lights, the CDI box. Anything where there's electrical wires and there's a plug, your start solenoid, your starter, unplug it. See if this went to 0. So you're probably wondering, what is it on this quad drawing the 0.02 amps? Well, let's go after this plug right here. There it is, 0. We found it. And this plug goes up to, what it is a remote control box right up there. These quads are equipped with a remote switch that the parents can kill the quad remotely. And that's what was drawing that amperage. So let's call the customer. Explain it. If this is your quad and you don't want that remote control box, you can leave this unplugged. It won't affect the operation at all. If you do like this and you use it, then you know what item to replace. With electrical items like this, like the CDI box or the remote control cutoff or even the coils, you're not rebuilding those. You're not remaking those. They're like a couple bucks off of Amazon. Get the correct one, install it, and you should be good to go. So there you go, guys. If you have a battery drain, you can use a cheap meter. You can use your more expensive meters. Either way, hook it in line with the battery and start unplugging things one by one. Hopefully you find it and this video helped you out. If it helped you out, thanks for joining the club. Consider subscribing. We hang out in the shop. We work on all sorts of things. It's a fun time. So have a good one.